Man, oh man. Leafs fans, I really don't know how you guys are honestly here. Because for me, I would have stopped watching this shit show of a game after the sixth goal. Holy crap. And that wasn't
One,
even the
two.
final goal, the final goal count. It was a 9-3 shellacking. We got absolutely slapped up by the fucking Sabres of all teams. I can't believe what is going on. I can't believe the shit that we saw today. Like we're playing against the Sabres, Fouad. We're playing against the Sabres. This team is a shit team. They were chanting to get their coach fired. What the absolute hell just happened?
Well, here's the thing. For any team, but the Sabres in particular, the antidote, like the chicken soup for the soul of a struggling season, is to play the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now,
Oh
I don't
god.
know what it is about Buffalo. Like,
This
is
is
it the
three
is
losses in a row, by the way. We lost
yeah,
what was it, like 6-4, 6-5 earlier this season as
yeah,
well.
is it the snow?
Man.
Is it the lawyer? Is it all the lawyer commercials like the Celino and Barnes? Is it the arena that has like no decorations on it? I don't know what it is about Buffalo, but it is, and it's louder for the Leafs than it is in the Scotiabank Arena, but it is literally like a haunted house for the Toronto Maple
Yeah,
Leafs.
it's disgusting. And we have someone in the chat, James. He's saying the Sabres have the same amount of wins over the Leafs as the Blackhawks. Kill me now, please. Are you kidding me? I completely forgot about that,
Yeah, I mean, like
dude. Oh, I can't. Listen,
it's
this. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's a Buffalo team that just like got nine put up on them by the Columbus Blue Jackets, team that also beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, went up 5-0 on them, and
Exactly.
it's a team that put up that got nine put up on them, and now they put up a nine spot on our our favorite team,
And
the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And to be frank, it probably could have been more. Like we're talking about, let's talk about where the Bruins or the Sabres, sorry, the Bruins, where the
Might as
Sabres
well
were
be.
coming into this game. Yeah, they're a 3-6-1 team in their last 10, and just like you said, they got spanked around at the hands of the Blue Jackets. 9-4 loss on Tuesday, and their fans were chanted to get their coach fired. Like this team is clearly not playing up to their standard, right? They've gone like
No.
13 wins in 33 games this season as well. And we come out and show this. With the amount of Leafs fans like in that arena, it might as well have been a home game.
It always is. Yeah, it's better than home games. It's
And
better than
Sammy,
Scotiabank Arena.
yeah, and Sammy comes out and looks like Swiss cheese. He does his best fucking cheese
Oh
impression, letting him goddamn everything.
God. Oh my
The first
goodness.
shot of the game, an absolute, like, it was the softest goal I've ever seen go in.
It was
I'm not even
bad.
joking. Show me another goal that was as soft as that first fucking goal. That
That
was
was
crazy. And
bad.
the worst part is, it wasn't even Sammy that was the only problem today. The entire lineup,
It
every
was
single Leaf out there looked disgustingly just out of it. They,
yeah.
they, they weren't positioning correctly. They couldn't get passes off. They couldn't even communicate. Like, talk about the first goal that Martin Jones, he comes into the game. Oh, like, shout out that, by the way. Martin Jones comes in. You get Sammy pulled, and the first shot that he has to face is a breakaway shot
Breakaway.
because of a lack of communication between Domi and I can't even remember because I'm
Connor Timmins. Oh,
Connor
that was
Timmins. I'm
it
frustrated.
was oh man.
What
Anyway,
is
let me
going on? Like
we're,
you're
we're,
making you guys are looking like absolute amateurs out there. How are
yeah.
you letting this happen to you? And this is coming off of last week where we got a 7-0 win, and yesterday obviously or 2 days ago we lost, what was it, like 5-2 against the Rangers, whatever, like couple unlucky bounces.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
Bad goaltending and bad fucking play in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, everyone who's everyone is piling on Ilya Samsonov. And look,
Rightfully so.
rightfully so. On a personal human level, I feel terrible for the guy because you can tell the confidence is getting worse. And the thing about confidence is the more unconfident you are, the worse it gets, and the harder it gets to get confidence back. Like a rock, it's a boulder tumbling down a hill.
Especially for a guy like Sammy, because Sammy,
Yes.
we know he's a guy that is very emotional. We
He's very
saw it in
Jack
his
Campbell-esque, yeah.
Capitals. Yes, we saw it in his Capitals days, where when he lost his confidence, his play plummeted. His
Yeah.
body language showed it, and he showed it today as well. He's a very emotional guy, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And you can tell when he's not performing, and his performance will collapse with it, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because like I mean the last game I was thinking like who is the guy on this team that is not I mean we can get to I don't know if you want to start off with the entire game or you just want to say throw the game in the garbage and we just talk about the hot topic. What are you thinking? What do you
I
think,
mean, we could
Harnish?
let's talk about it because I mean, everyone here, I'm sure they're all talking about
Yeah,
Sammy. You can look in the comments, right? The first goal, right, of the game,
yeah,
it was a shit show from Sammy, right? It was a shot under the pads,
yeah,
something that he 100% should have saved,
yeah,
and he doesn't.
yeah.
It didn't take a weird bounce. There was no deflection. There was no screen. It was just Sammy being absolutely poor, right? We can go in
It's a
through the
practice
other
shot.
goals too, but like, yeah, it was just it really summed up the entire night that he kind of had, where he just was not um he just was not playing like himself. He was too jittery, sliding all over the place, not playing his position, and that shit happens, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean I think it was the fifth goal, the fourth and the fifth goal because there was a lot of goals.
mm,
Excuse me if I get it wrong. The one that got him pulled was like I wasn't even like I was just like oh my god like the where it was a shot from I believe Tage Thompson and I think and like it wasn't even like he wasn't even screened. It was like a routine like it was like a fly ball in baseball literally and it just went careened over the glove. There was a power play goal. I know it was a 5-on-3
mhm.
from Rasmus Dahlin, and he's got a shot, he's got a cannon, but that like the way he reacted, it's like when you have like I have a PS4, I'm too cheap to get a PS5. It's
Mhm.
like when your screen just glitches and he just stopped and like he was there and then he reacted 2 seconds after the puck went in the net. Like he's not Samsonov is not a guy that he's not an option right now. And it's very Jack Campbell-esque, like we saw in like we're seeing in Edmonton right now and now in the minor leagues. But like it's gotten to that point, and it's like if and I heard people were talking. I see people in the chat saying, "What do you do with him?" Well, if Joseph Woll were to come back tomorrow, like he miraculously heals, he's going on waivers, right? Like you're not going to lose Martin Jones. Like that's where it is, where it's at. You're choosing Martin Jones over a guy who started the playoffs for you last season. Like that's wild.
But that still doesn't solve the issue because, for example, if Wall gets injured or if he goes on a cold spell, um, Martin Jones also let in 3 goals today, and yeah, he got no help in front of him, and clearly
Well,
like
the
that
team
that
quit
is
on
an
him. Yeah.
issue. Yes, the team let him out to dry, but I wouldn't trust our entire playoff run having Martin Jones as our backup, right? Like he's played okay, but is he a guy that you can win the cup with? Because realistically, like for the Leafs, I think every season is cup or bust.
Yeah,
And I don't see him being the guy that can miraculously turn around his career and get something going for the Leafs in case something does happen to Wall.
yeah. I mean, you might maybe you look at other options, but that's the thing. This is a job for Brad Treliving. Who shout out to Brad Treliving. We give him a lot of we give him a lot of grief for his let's just say lack of financial prudence in signing Ryan Reeves and John Klingberg at the first chance he got. But he showed financial prudence in not extending Samsonov because this could have been an exact Jack Campbell situation. But at this point, it's like I don't know, like, but like, is he any better than Martin Jones? Like, I know you're thinking of Martin Jones in your head, of like guy who's bounced around the league the last 7 years, but right now, like Samsonov gives me like when I see him in net, I get Michael Hutchinson vibes. Like I'm like everything could go in if it's floated at the net, and that's I don't I'd rather honestly have Martin Jones as the backup than Samsonov right now. And like I know that's it's recency bias, but it's pretty big recency bias. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very
Yeah,
loud
no,
recency bias.
I completely agree with you. To like, let me preface this. I completely agree with you. Um, I talked about this with Lauren the last couple of times that we've been on as well. I totally believe in playing the hottest hand. Martin Jones
Yeah.
clearly has been so far. And so you kind of have to ride it out with him. But what my whole point is, like, Martin Jones also is not the solution. Like, there,
No.
it
No.
sucks for Tree Living though, because you came into this thinking that, hey, I just need a defenseman or I need to shore up this area, and now he has to look into our goaltending too. Because quite honestly, if Wool was not injured, if Wool was available to play, I really think Samsonov played himself out of Toronto today. What
Yeah.
he showed today and the last couple of games, it's crazy. He's been pulled how many times this season? Has it been 2 or 3 times?
Oh man, I mean, it feels like it. I don't have the exact stat on me right now, but there's been
It's
so
bad.
many, and it's not even just bad games. Like every goalie gets shelled. I mean, the Leafs just shelled Igor Shesterkin 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, but it's the goals that go in. It's like they're goals that that normally would not. Like this guy, he has more talent than to not let those in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something has gone wrong confidence wise, and that's the thing. It's like it's the yips, right? Like that psychological sports thing. It's the yips, honestly, and we've seen it in baseball. Like you see it in goalies a lot. You see it with pitchers a lot. Like if you follow like the Blue Jays, Alek Manoah was Cy Young winner. Like this guy's the next Roger Clemens, whoever. Like he's the next best big thing. Next season, terrible. Like once it's mentally it's turned off. That's like even worse than an injury, in my opinion. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing I think of when you say he's played himself out of Toronto, it's that yeah, he has one year left on his contract, so it's not going to be like I mean, you're not going to get anything for him, but you can put him in a trade, right? But that
Who?
3.5
What
million,
value does he have though?
no value. He's just going to be like to
He's
make
gonna pass
salary
through
spend.
waivers too. Like
Yeah,
nobody's
he
picking
will.
him up even for free.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, they're gonna have to like it's gonna have to be the problem is like what do you need the problem is that $3.5 million sitting on that cap sheet. They can't afford to have that just be like nothing. Like they can't put him on LTIR. I mean, it's not a long-term injury. I mean the way they do things at LTIR, they make stuff up. I mean,
Yeah,
they
this is not
make
going to be a
injuries
Robida
up.
Island thing.
Like and I don't want anybody to get injured. Like that's like I hate the LTIR thing because it makes us as fans very weird. But
Mm,
yeah, that's the thing. It's $3.5 million that you can't afford to have as dead money, but it's gonna be dead money at this point.
mhm. It's gonna be tough. Treleman has a tough time ahead of him. He's gonna have a lot of decisions he has to make. Um, and thank God I am not in his seat. Now let's talk a little bit about the rest of the game, because after
Yeah,
that first goal, 5 minutes later, Austin Matthews showing his best like spinorama, like Pascal Siakam esque spinorama. What a goal from the goal line, an impossible angle, somehow manages to get it in, and his confidence, like, it must be through the roof right now.
yeah. I mean, look, yeah, and that's the thing you can isolate from the game is that Austin Matthews looks better than he's ever looked. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is right now at his absolute apex. He's at the age now where the apex hits. Like for all athletes across sports, that 26, like 20, he's 25 now, I think, but like 25, 26, 27, that's when you see every athlete become like that's when they become who they're gonna be, and that's when they become like the best versions of themselves. And right now he's on that level. That goal, I don't know how good it was, of a nice goal it was. It was kind of like that Levi kind of channeled a bit of a Samsonov there. It was kind of a weird angle, but
It was a
you'll
crazy
take
angle, but you take those, right?
26 goals. 26 goals. Like if you told me that a guy, because you let's just say you told me like you have a player, it's like, oh, he has the potential to be a 26 goal scorer. Like first, like you think, oh, he's gonna be on our first line. He's got that in December. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable. If you're going to take a silver lining from this game, Austin Matthews remains a Toronto Maple Leaf. So there you go. If anyone wants to feel better about tonight, that's what you got.
Exactly. And you mentioned the 26 goals. It's 26 goals in what was it, 29 games. Did he get his 30th today, or was that his 26th? That
It was
was
goal, yeah.
his 26th goal, yes. So I saw a stat thrown up. He's currently, well, he was tied for the most goals in the first 29 games of a season with Ovi in his 2013-2014 season.
Wow. What did
That's
Ovi
a
finish that
crazy
year?
stat. He's at 11 goals in the last 7 games. So this month he scored 11 goals and he's had 9 multi-goal games this season. He is worldly right now. When he's
Yeah.
healthy, my God, is it a pleasure to see. Unfortunately, though, too bad the rest of the guys didn't really pull their weight and show
I
up,
mean,
right?
they had a lead in this game, if you could believe it.
Yep, Max Domi next.
And if you want to talk about another silver lining here, Max Domi, he's got like 7 points in the last 9 games, I think.
Mhm.
I wrote it down somewhere. Let me check. But he's starting to 7 points in 9 games, 3 goals in there. So he's starting to become that like he scored 60 points in the past. Like he's starting to become that guy. Maybe you still have it. Maybe you actually have a third line center there. I don't know. There's been debate in the Leafs Nation about that, but I I think that's one of the other 2 silver linings in this game that I'm like, okay, you have something there. That bottom 6 is a lot better than it was last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they really just had some growing pains. Like they needed some more time to get their feet under them. And with the horrendous start that they had at the beginning of the season, I mean that's got to hit your confidence, especially for a guy like Domi who was so hyped up coming in coming into this season, right?
Yeah,
With the Domi last name.
the prodigal
So
son. Yeah,
yeah, it's tough on him, but he has gotten his feet under him. He's playing a lot better as of late. Later on in the game he had a pretty bad look, but yeah, that's second power play unit has been looking great with Domi, at least on that play. But right after that the Leafs give up their lead and they never seem to get it back, unfortunately.
yeah.
uh Owen Power gets the next goal, ties the game for the for Buffalo. And it was such a
Immediately. Yeah,
weird, yeah, it was such a weird goal because it looked like all of the Leafs just got tangled up with each other, right?
yeah,
Like on right out of the breakaway from the neutral zone. I'm looking at my notes and Timmins and Benoit, yeah, they get tangled up with each other. They try double teaming on Okposo, leaving Middleset completely open. Samsonov, he's able to make the initial save off of a Benson shot, but because he pushes off a little too hard, slides around a little too much, he
yeah,
gets tangled up with Timmins and can't get back to his post, right? And Owen Powers obviously like it's an empty net bait at that point, completely like open. He ties up the game and puts the brings back that lead that they gave up within like 10 seconds.
yeah. I don't know if it was 10 seconds, but it felt like it. Like, and
Yeah,
that's a. I
it, it
mean,
was it
this
was like 5 seconds.
that's a
Even less.
microcosm of the entire season. Like it's you get the
A
goal
minute.
and you get all that momentum, but you give it right back, and that has been their Achilles heel,
Mm.
or at least one of them. Oh man, that goal that was, yeah, he was swimming out there, and that's something we've seen from Samsonov. That's not even like a yips thing. That's something we've always seen from him, where he just overcommits.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna overcommit, you better have that puck frozen, or else a yawning cage. Like you're overexposed, and you miss it, you're done. Like it's in the back of the net. So that's where they stood there, and that kind of opened the floodgates, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. And then to end off the period, Jeff Skinner puts the Sabres up.
The Bruins. They might as well be the Bruins.
Yeah, I keep getting that mixed up. They put them up 3-2. Marner, he tries to get a short pass to Bertuzzi. Tuck intercepts it, and the Leafs get caught with their pants down. Right, just can't get back into their position. Jeff Skinner
Yeah.
races in and gets a uncontested shot and scores it. Again,
Yeah.
just I don't know what you're doing, Marner. Why are you like you can just turn your head and look and see what's coming. Um and it's not like that was the only pass available. There was literally a player in front of him at the goal line that could have received the pass and this whole thing doesn't happen. And then second of all, McCabe, he should have been the guy that was covering Skinner, but he gets caught out again. And I hate to toot on this horn, but like McCabe and Brody, they have not been looking good.
Yeah, it's there's always it always seems like it always seems when they're together they get crossed up somehow. Like
Mm-hmm.
when they analyze the goal on the replay, it's like, whoa, where are you going there? Like it always seems like, now of course I mean people get scored on, but they always seem to be like fundamentally out of position. Like they're not like they're not at least giving themselves a chance or giving the goalie a chance. Like, you can pile on Ilya Samsonov all you want, and rightfully so, but it, he's getting completely exposed there. And then, of course, Martin Jones comes in, gets shelled for 3 goals straight. Like that was the story of the game. It was, yeah, the goaltending sucked, but the defense in front was even worse.
Yeah, and I hate to bring up like McCabe because he has really been playing some of his best games as a Leaf. Like he's been contributing offensively, but when it comes to things like this, there's really no excuse. You should be getting your guy. You can't be leaving someone completely open. And I don't know if it's like just bad positioning. I don't know if he had a lapse of judgment. Maybe there was just bad communication because clearly we saw on the ice the Leafs aren't communicating well with each other. I don't know what it is, but Keefe really needs to work these things out because yeah, McCabe Brody, that pairing has not looked good. And even the Riley Liljegren pairing today. You watched the last game. You were on Game Over the last game. They didn't look good that game either, right?
No, man. Yeah, the structure's off is off. I mean, look, there's there's so many problems with the Leafs defense to where it's like, yeah, you can blame the fundamentals, but there's just not enough talent back there. Like the lower, the bottom pairing defensemen are guys from the AHL, man. Like even Connor Timmins. Like Connor Timmins is not an NHL defenseman, man. Like, I don't think he's not for a contender. Like offensively, he's great, but man, that giveaway, him like that miscommunication with Domi, that happens every game. It's just this one we noticed because end up in the back of the net. Like that was like Jake Gardner-esque, but without the good stuff of Jake Gardner. Like that's the thing. Like Connor Timmins, if you want this team to be anything in the playoffs, he can't start. He can't start in the playoffs. He can't.
Exactly. And Connor Timmins probably played one of his worst games as a Leaf today. He looked atrocious out there. He looked like a liability. And it was to the point where there was multiple plays where I'm like, what is he doing? Like, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. So the Leafs have a lot of things that they need to work on. Benoit, he got brought in for Lagesson. I don't think it was a performance thing. I think it was more so just trying to get some guys in the lineup, trying to get Benoit some games. But yeah, like clearly we need to look elsewhere because right now, I don't know, this isn't really cutting it for us. And I know we have some injuries, and I there's some guys in the chat saying Ty Voigt, get him in there and stuff like that. But listen, these guys are rookies. They don't have enough experience, and stuff like this happens when you're in a high pressure situation, when you're getting absolutely shelled. You get lapses of judgment. It happened to Lily quite a few times in the previous seasons as well, right?
Yeah, I'm not I wouldn't put a guy fresh out of the AHL
Exactly.
into that lineup. I mean, you have enough AHLers in the lineup. That's the thing. Like there's no one really coming to save the Leafs defense. Like let's talk about Niemela, but I mean, I don't think he's ready right now.
He's so young, yeah. He's looking great, but he just needs time.
It's AHL though. I mean,
yeah.
Anybody should. I mean, if you want to be in the NHL, you have to dominate the AHL, right? That's like the standard, right? So they got to look outside of the organization. That's the only way. We had our esteemed colleague Audie from came over Calgary asking if we wanted any Calgary defensemen, and that is gonna happen. I think it's a yeah. I mean, whether or not he's another guy up there in age. I think he's the same age as TJ Brody. He's a veteran, but he's like much of a veteran.
Yeah, he's getting there where I think he's at like what 33, 30. Yeah, he's 34. So yeah, he's on the opposite side of 30, right? So that's
man. And you're gonna shell out a first for that. Like I'm okay with trading a first. I'm okay with that when you're a contender. Like you have to capitalize on the window. But if you're trading a first, they better be on the team next season. That's the thing. That's the rule, because how many first round picks were he traded and how many guys went out the door, right? Like Ryan O'Reilly, first round pick traded out the door. Nick Foligno, first round pick out the door, and they're not defensemen. I mean, something like the Jake Muzzin trade would be okay, I think. Something, an analog to that, because in 2019 they made that trade and he was under contract, or they got him under the contract, so he was worth that deal in a bit, sort of, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. I keep thinking like how differently would the Leafs look, and how good would they look with Muzzin in the lineup right now? A healthy Muzzin,
Yeah.
right? He really seems like we're missing exactly like a Muzzin-esque player. We're literally missing. If we were to try to get someone, we would want someone to mimic a Muzzin type of player, a Muzzin type of play style, right?
Yeah. I mean, people want Nikita
Zadorov.
Zadorov. Like that's kind of a similar. I mean, he doesn't quite have the shot Muzzin did. I mean, Muzzin had a cannon.
Hmm.
I mean, earlier in his career, but when he was in the Leafs, like he had a cannon.
Way
But
better offensively, yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's every. There's a reason why every season we're always saying who's the defenseman on the market.
Hmm.
The problem is, um, if a team has a really great defenseman, they ain't gonna be on the market. You know what I'm saying? So there's always gonna be some sort of flaw or a caveat, either an expiring contract, or they're older, or they haven't been playing as well. That's what you're looking at. That's the problem because they didn't develop any defensemen. They didn't draft any defensemen. They didn't make any moves with their core to get defensemen. Like that's every contender has, they have somebody anchoring the blue line. And I don't know, like Morgan Riley is, but he's kind of by himself, you know?
Yeah, and the other issue, like we do have guys, I guess, like in our development ranks, but they're just so far out. Like the Ty Voids, the Niemalas, like all of these guys, like we just got uh what's his name? How am I missing his name? Nice. We just got Nice to show up, and we weren't even expecting him to play
No.
the way that he has been playing. Right? We're slowly getting our these draft picks, these prospects. Slowly, they're gonna start coming into the lineup. But are they gonna be able to come in fast enough to contribute to a team that's really looking to win right now? That's the real question. So
Yeah.
we don't really know, right?
Yeah, and this team has a pretty spotty track record of developing defensemen. Like who's the
Mhm.
last defenseman they developed was Morgan Riley 10 years ago. Like he drafted 10, no, 12 years ago. It's gonna be 12 years ago. What am I even talking about? Jeez,
It's
he's the
been
same
a
age as
long
me.
time.
Getting
Yeah,
old.
make me feel old.
Well, I'm getting old. He's the same age as me. He drafted when I graduated high school. But
uh,
yeah, that's the last one. Who was before him? The Thomas Caberlet? Like you know what I'm
oh
saying? Like
God.
it's
It's
an
been forever.
organizational thing. And we thought Liljegren and Sandin, these are the young studs. These guys are going to save the defensive core.
Hmm.
Traded Sandin, Liljegren's solid, but like not indispensable, right?
Exactly. There's gonna be a lot of questions. We'll see. Again, True Living is gonna have his work cut out for him. It's gonna be tough. But let's get into the second period. The Leafs take two penalties back to back. Benoit Holden, Benoit Holden against Rasmus Sandin, and then like a minute in, Noah Gregor tripping against JJ Paterka. Before we get into the goal that Buffalo inevitably ends up scoring, what a stupid penalty to take by Noah Gregor, right? Like
Yeah.
completely uncalled for, very, very sloppy. Gregor wasn't even looking, like he threw his stick out just like, fuck
Yeah,
it, let's throw something out, let's try to see if we can get something. And yeah, like if you throw a hook out, you're gonna catch a fish. And this you caught JJ Paterka, and like the moment the whistle gets called, the moment it even happens, you could see in Gregor's face, like, yeah, I fucked up, I messed
yeah.
up.
Whoops! Did I do that? Yeah, that was the most obvious penalty of the year, and it was just comedy bears.
Yeah, you
That's
do
where
stupid things, you get stupid results, right?
there you go. That's what the kids tell me.
Yeah, and then obviously with a two-man advantage, Rasmus Dahlin scores to put the Sabres up, what, like 4-2 at this point. Oh God.
It was, and like I said, the goal was the goal was like, I mean, I know it was a 5-on-3, but Samsonov didn't even have an idea where that puck was, and like the puck could have been on the puck. He might have thought the puck was on the other end of the ice.
He
Like that's
didn't
how
move.
out of position. Yeah, it was like a glitch. It was like watching a terrible NHL 24 glitch,
Ugh.
right?
He stayed absolutely still, and that's the kind of body language. That's what tells you that he had no clue where the puck was. Yeah. Uh, Somehow, in the rest of that power play after that, the Leafs somehow end up getting a shorthanded goal. You think that, hey, maybe like it's 5-3, maybe there's a comeback that we can get on. Kalle Yarncroc finally nets one, and it's because of a massive save from Sammy, right? Sammy, let's be honest, he took he got a massive block on Tage Thompson's bomb.
Yeah.
I think it was they tracked it at like a 96 miles per hour or something like that. Some crazy shot. And then the puck ends up going the other way. It was a 2-on-1 chance for Nylander and Yarncroc, and Yarncroc scores it. You think that, hey, maybe there's some kind of hope left here, right?
Yeah, I think it was 4-3 at that point. So I think it might have been. I
Four
mean,
three, yeah,
there's a
four
lot of
three.
goals. I was trying to keep track. It was a lot of goals. But yeah, it was a great play. I mean, shorthanded goal. That's what the doctor ordered after you get a terrible goal scored on you. I thought, oh, okay, the pendulum could switch here. I mean, we've seen the Leafs have some absolute like explosive offensive performances, and that could have sparked it, right? Perfect pass from William Nylander
Mm-hmm.
to Calle Yarncroc in his back of the net. I'm like, okay, here we go. Something's cooking here.
Yeah.
Something was not cooking. Something was burning.
Exactly. The next goal, Tage Thompson, is the one that broke the camel's back for Sammy.
Oh man, yeah, that's I mean, glove side. That was I mean, like that was a very that was when I saw it, like I was like, God, that's it. Like that's it. That's how I felt. I'm like, oh my goodness. And
That
then
was it for Sammy as well, right?
and we heard talk about like Luke Fox was saying like he went into the tunnel after that. Like he didn't just sit down. He went into the tunnel first and came
Mm-hmm.
back out. And they showed him on the camera, and I'm like I get it, man. Like we've all been there. Like when you mess up and you keep messing up, you keep messing up. Like I felt for the guy. Like I
Mm-hmm.
actually feel for the guy. It's not like I'm not even one of those people that's like being like, he sucks. God, get him out. I don't want to be that because it's like, yeah, he shouldn't be playing for them right now. But God, it's bad. Like the look on his face too. Like that's a guy who's no confidence left.
Yeah, he was absolutely dejected.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I really don't know what to say with Sammy. Like he played so well the last season, and this season has been just a complete stark just 180, going back to his days in Washington, where his end in Washington, because he did look okay as like a prospect initially, right? And then when it went bad, it went really bad. And that
Yeah.
goal, I don't know what he was doing. Like it just touched the top of his glove, but he
It
just couldn't get
was.
enough on it. And also like just the look and the body language afterwards, just looking at the puck completely dejected, shoulders slump, looking down at the ground. And yeah, as he gets pulled, like no anger in him, just pure despair and sadness, right? You hate to see it, but man,
Yeah.
if the Leafs are to try to get Sammy to turn around, like this is going to be a big project. I don't know how you really help this guy other than sending him down and hoping that he gets some confidence with the Marlies. Like I don't see what else he can do, because like there was even talk about pulling him going into the second, right? What was the score at the towards the second? It was like
3-2.
3-2, 3-2, right?
3-2 after the first. Yeah.
3-2
Wow.
after the first. Sorry, yeah. And there was talk about pulling him out because he let in three absolute
Yeah.
muffins, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the only way you get confidence is by playing games. But when you get
Yeah.
shelled this badly, it's not going to do you any good. You have to try to get some wins, and the only way I see that happening is through the Marlies, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. You got to balance out between. I mean, everyone's saying like you guys are saying you have to have him for the playoffs. You have him as backup, but it's like, where's the balance between putting him in net and saying go for it, and then getting shelled again? I mean, they're playing Columbus next, so you better believe they're going to give up 5 goals against Columbus because that's just the way it goes. But yeah, like you can't go to the next game. The Marlies, though, it's like, does it help your confidence? Because it's like it depends on the person, right? Because it's like you could see it one of two ways. Like, okay, this is the chance to reset. Let me get my game back, or it could be like my career is over. Like I don't know. I'm not a sports psychologist or a psychologist of any means, but like you like if you're in that if that's me in that position,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a starting goaltender in the playoffs last season. They won a round for the first time in 19 years with me in net.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me down to the Marlies the same calendar year. Man, I don't know. That takes a strong will to come back from that. And I don't know.
But the
I don't
thing is,
know.
he has done it, right? Think about it. Like he got driven out of Washington. We all remember the infamous like Ovi yelling at him to get his head in the game, right?
Yeah.
During the playoffs when he let in an absolute muffin as well. So this is a guy who was chased out of Washington. Thought a lot of people thought his career was going to be over, even though he was so young. And he picks up the pieces, has a great showing for Toronto, in his first season, and everyone thought that he could maybe have some, or maybe that he could sustain that same form, right? So he clearly has done it before, and hopefully he sees that as a positive and is like, hey, I went through it, I got through
Yeah.
it, and I performed well at the end of it. So let's use this as an opportunity to get my confidence up, work on my game in a less stressful environment, right? Because think about it, you're playing for the Leafs, right? This isn't like this isn't, I don't know, like
The
Colorado,
Coyotes.
or yeah, this isn't the Coyotes or
Colorado.
something.
Oh,
Sorry,
you can insult some people right there. That's a
yeah,
passionate
yeah,
fan base.
sorry, I
Come
meant the
at me.
Coyotes. This isn't the Coyotes, right? This
Yeah.
is the mecca of hockey. You can't.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so many eyes on you. This is a Canadian market. It's the mecca of hockey. It's probably the
Yeah.
biggest or one of the biggest Canadian markets too. Um, there's so many eyes on you. So
Yeah.
maybe work on your game through the minors and then see how that progresses. See how that goes.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. There's a reason why a lot of guys don't want to have their no trade list as Toronto. Like
Mhm.
it's on one
It's
hand, I'm
tough.
like, come on, like the bright lights, like play, like don't you want to be in the, don't you want to get all the accolades? But on the other hand, it's like not everybody has that personality, especially hockey players. Like
Mhm.
hockey players are like very private, like very, straight laced, like a lot of the time, most of them, like 90% of them. But there's a reason why. Like it's not for everybody. It's like being the quarterback for the Cowboys. It's like being, playing for the Knicks or the Lakers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like not as successful as the Lakers, but that's the thing. All the national media, all the eyes are on you, right? Like everyone's watching you. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's tough. I don't know if he's got it for this market, man.
Listen, only he can answer that question, and the Leafs really have to. The management has to figure something out. Hopefully, Wall comes back sooner rather than later. I think right now the projection is February, so really realistically, we kind of have to stick it out with Sammy, for another 2 months, 1 month at the very least, right? We'll see how that goes. Let's talk about Martin Jones coming into the lineup, right?
Yeah.
Sammy obviously got pulled after that Tage Thompson goal. Now Martin Jones, who has been looking pretty good. I mean, he lost the last game, but I don't know if I would necessarily blame him. Like a lot of, I'm sure a lot of you and that are watching probably
Yeah,
agree with
it
me with
was
that too, right?
a lot of bad
There's
bounces. Yeah.
bad bounces, right? Yeah. But the first goal that Martin Jones has to face, it's a short-handed attempt, first of all, right? And not only that, but it was a breakaway, absolute like shit show. Jungkirk passes the puck. Domi and Timmins both get a stick on it. It's not like they just
That's
watched it
rough.
go. They both get a stick on it and lift it away, expecting the other to take it. And Kyle
Yeah.
Okposo is like, nope, let me swoop in like a bat in the night, say thank you, sir. I'll be taking it from here and run you out of town.
That's it, man. I mean, yeah, yeah. Hope you stretch, Martin Jones. Welcome to the game. Like that's, yeah. Like I mean, what way to get his confidence going, right? Like at least been playing great in front of Martin Jones lately. Like I mean, he's been such a great story, a guy who has been through the ringer, like
Mm.
Ilya Samsonov has in the past, and he's stuck in the league somehow. He stayed through going to waivers and buyouts and the Marlies, and he somehow surfaced in Toronto and is getting real minutes and real games and has gotten a shutout. But that's not how you can't leave two goalies out to dry in the same game.
And it was the
It's
way that they let him out to dry here, where it wasn't even like it was a bad pass or it was just an incomplete pass or interception or whatnot. It was just a lack of communication.
yeah,
That's what infuriates me because this is totally avoidable. This is one of the most avoidable things. Just talk. Just
yeah,
figure it out, right? I don't know what was going on there. And it's not like our power play looked any better, honestly. Like going into this as well. Like we had one goal, our first goal. I think it was on the first power play of the game for us. But after that, our power play looked atrocious. I don't know if it's just me, but despite us having, I think we're like fifth place. We are one of the best. Like we have one of the best power plays in the league. But as of
Yeah,
late,
it should.
yeah. But as of late, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they just lack a bunch of energy on the power play, especially the first unit. Like it seems like they're just fumbling the puck a lot. They're missing passes and they're turning it over just constantly. Um
Yeah.
and the lack of speed, the lack of like shots thrown on net is just really surprising to me. It seems like they're just waiting and they're slowing down and hoping that the opponent like bites on something and they just don't bite because you just don't take a shot, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like in basketball, you just like keep hezzying the guy. They're not gonna
Yeah.
bite on you if you just keep hezzying.
Yeah. We call it the Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah,
And remember him
like
when he was
what?
from three? Just like 10 times. We get it. You're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's
is it just me though? Did you
no,
notice this too? I don't know if I'm just crazy.
to me the power play they should have a top five power play. It's not even like
They have the
the amount
players
of
for it, that's for sure.
the amount of assassins you have on that unit, on that first unit, and the second unit's not so bad either. But that first unit should be the best in the league. Like
Hmm.
it's not even I'm not even like, whoa, wow, good for them. That's where it should be. So when they do struggle, like when they have struggled in years past, I'm like, you guys got to get it together because you should not be less than top 10 in that power play. But man, like so the third, I mean, like another thing too is like the third period, like there's not even any pushback.
Hmm.
Like I get you're losing the game. Like when it's 6-3, I'm like, fine, you know, fine, you know, maybe you won't win the game. You gotta try. Like you gotta at least put forth an effort. Get in some scrums. They got into a tiny little scrum at the end of the game. Big whoop after it was 9, and the crowd was chanting 9, not 8, 7. Like you're getting embarrassed. Like have a little bit of pride, you know?
Yeah, it was disgusting. Like the crowd came out into that third and they're like, "We want 7." They got their 7th.
You
"We
got 7.
want 8." They got their 8th. "We want 9." They got their
You got
9th.
their 9. I thought 10, man. They were saying
I
10.
yeah, I was like, yeah, just give him 10. Who cares at this point? Like just
Yeah,
embarrass yourselves further. They went from losing 9-4 to winning
9-3.
9-3
I
against
think,
the Leafs.
yeah, I think they said like it's the first
Jesus
time in like 40 something years that a team has allowed 9 goals and scored 9 goals the next game. And I know that's a very obscure stat. Like that's a very, you can always finagle stats, but it's still kind of funny that it happened after towards the Leafs, right?
Christ. Hmm.
But that
Hmm.
Buffalo crowd, man, like I mean, like we can get into it later. Like I don't know why that team is not more competitive, like except versus the Leafs, because like that fan base does deserve it. Like that's a great sports town. Like for the foot, they jump through tables for the football team. You know what I'm saying? For the Bills, that's it's a great sports town. So shout out, we had a Sabres fan in the chat. Shout out to you. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing when the
honestly,
crowd's punking you, right? So
yeah, I think they're just really underperforming right now. I definitely did not see them as like a 25 or below 20 team. I thought they were a decent team. They're a young, fast team, but I don't know what's going on this season. They've just haven't had it, and especially this last 10 games. Like other than this one game, like they have looked horrible. But maybe hey, this could be a turning point, of course, against the goddamn Leafs to turn your season around, right? Now, guys in the chat, we're gonna be taking your questions soon. So if you have any questions about the game, if you have any questions to ask us, trades, talk about Sammy, whatever you guys want to talk about, throw it in the
anything.
chat. We'll have a look on there. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. We got a ton of other shows here on Game Over Toronto. Game Over
SDPN.
SDPN, yes. So take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah. Fouad, is there anything else you want to talk about this game? Like that third period, 3 goals, like
It's kind of, I mean, at some point I was starting to
just
laugh
it
after
is
each
what
one. I'm
it
like,
is.
oh my God. I was just like, I was like, at some point I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I don't know. The next game you got Columbus. So, a game that should be a scheduled win. Like the Leafs should be looking at Columbus and being like, okay, let's get it back on track. But this is the Columbus Blue Jackets, very much like the Buffalo Sabres, like a team that's kind of has the voodoo over them, right? Like, are they playing at home or are they playing in Columbus? They're playing in Columbus, aren't they?
Let me check the schedule. They
I don't think it
are.
matters.
They're playing in Columbus. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So they're gonna hear that cannon go off like 6 times, aren't they? For
You know what's hilarious? Did you hear? There was there was a stoppage. Like I think it was like a minute left in the game, and the Sabres started playing the old Leafs goal song.
I did. I
That
caught
was
that.
hilarious.
I love. I mean, look. I will say the Toronto like sports teams, they don't troll enough. I don't think they have enough troll in them. I think it's the organization is too classy, but I appreciate a good arena troll job. Like that is entertaining to me. Like if you're a Sabres fan, you're laughing it up. Like that is I think the Leafs they gotta troll other teams more. I don't know. That's just me. But maybe win the game first, then you control. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta win something to do that. We got someone in the chat, David W. He's asked, SDPN, do you see it likely GM Treelivin, with the body of evidence that he has had with Samsonov and whatnot, will he waive said goaltender, so Samsonov? And if so, when do you see that waive in or trade happen?
Wow. I mean, like logistically, you can't carry 3 goalies. So, if it's like you said, they're going to have to put him in net unless you're going to waive him now and get Dennis Hildeby, who I don't know anything about Dennis Hildeby. Like, I mean, nobody does. Like, I mean, AHL, great. Like, Eric Shalgren was great in the AHL, but where's Eric Shalgren now, right? Like, maybe he'll win a game or two, but like, you're definitely putting band-aids on the sink on the holes in the ship, basically. But yeah, I mean, they could waive him now. Like, they probably wait until like Wool comes back, and if they think Jones is the guy that is better, they're gonna have to make a business decision whether or not you like Jones or Samsonov better. They're gonna have to think, well, if we can get some cap relief and fill it somewhere else, I think that's the better business move to make as far as building out the roster. So I don't think he's long for the team. I actually don't think I don't think he's long for it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. At the very least, like he's not going to be playing uh on the NHL or the Leafs actual roster. He might be still in the organization playing for the Marlies. But I think the problem right now is with Wall injured, you kind of hamstrung. You kind of have to throw these two out there. Because yeah, I'm not going to trust Hildeby to come in into like a sinking ship situation, right? Like clearly the rest of the team aren't putting any effort out to try to help out, right? You don't want your young guy to get absolutely shelled in front of him, right? That's gonna kill his confidence. You're gonna kill 2 goalies like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think until Wall really gets back, like we're kind of stuck with Samsonov. Once Wall gets back, then you can play around, maybe throw Sammy down, or if you want to try to ship him out, I don't know who's really gonna take him with the way that he's playing right now, but
It might be yeah,
that's the
yeah.
other option. I think they're just gonna have to waive him and try to make something work. But clearly,
Yeah.
this isn't working right now.
Don't you get half the cap back like don't you get like if you bury them in the Marlies, don't you get like some kind of cap relief? Like the capology is it's a
Yeah,
little bit
capology is a very
they made
interesting
it
way.
so complicated.
It's stupid complicated, but luckily enough, we have a guy who goddamn worked on on creating the cap, so we'll or
They'll figure it
the
out.
LTIR situation. So maybe they'll have some accounting
Yeah.
messing around that they can do to get this to work out.
It's he'll be 6'7". Jeez. I mean, Godly X John says he reminds me of Drew McIntyre in his prime, but a 6'7" version. And when I saw Drew McIntyre, I always think of the wrestler.
Uh
So I forgot there was a guy named Drew McIntyre who played for the Leafs. He's like he's a Scottish warrior in wrestling. So it's not him. But somebody will get it. Don't
is
worry.
he
But
6'7" though?
Hill to be, I guess. That's why they call
Oh
him Hill
my
the Beast.
god. That's an ungodly height.
It's big, man. I mean,
he'll just butterfly and cover up like more than the net. That's crazy.
you'd think so, but oh man, I yeah, it doesn't look like It's not a lot of great options. Like net minding is not a lot of great options, but despite the loss, like you have to give the team credit. They have had a lot of adversity and they have, by and large, rose to the occasion because a lot of these injuries, it could have cratered their season. Like they could be where Tampa Bay is right now, in the mix of the wild card, but they're still in a division race. So it's like, now will the magic run out the new year? Who knows? But at this point, we've seen the team be resilient. I don't think this loss is going to hang on them. I think they will figure it out somehow with the patchwork until Wall comes back. That's as positive as you're going to get from me after this game.
No, you're right. You're right. We'll see. We'll see how the Leafs do this Saturday against the Blue Jackets. And I just googled it. Yeah, Dennis Hildeby, 6'7", 222 pounds. He is a big boy, and he's 22 years old. God damn. That is crazy.
22, okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it looks like that's gonna be all the questions that we have here. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys coming out each and every day, including when there is a tough loss. We love to see the amount. Yeah, it's really passionate, and there's a lot of people having some discussions in the chat. It's great to see. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, tell all your friends, and yeah, this is a game that we're not going to look too fondly on, and hopefully they'll bounce back better on Saturday, where I think Fouad, you're gonna be hosting that one, right?
Yeah, all by myself, I guess. So if you want to see me talk to air for 35 minutes, let me know. I need to chat. You guys gotta. Everybody's watching now. You guys got it. You gotta be my co-host. You gotta come out there. You gotta ask me the questions. I'm gonna be talking to the phone.
There you go. There you go. Make sure you show up to that. He'll be answering your questions
I'm gonna
there.
be like those old school like radio hosts that like used to call in. Like, I got a caller right now. It's Jim from Hamilton. Jim, what do you think of the game? I would love to do that, but I think it would get a little out of hand if we had a call-in show.
Yeah, that would be a little crazy. Well, Fouad, give us a shout out. Tell them where the people can find you.
Yes. You can find me at Fouad_sports, complaining about the Raptors, most likely, or the Leafs. Very more the Raptors. Like, I'm complaining about that team a lot more than the Leafs because they are directionless. This team is trying to win. So that's where you can find me, and you can find me on Game Over. Harnish.
There you go. Yeah, you can find me, Harnish_Patel 98 on Twitter. That's going to do it here for us, guys. Thank you, guys, and have a great night.
7, 8, 9, 10.